here, and we want to get you on the road by 9 o'clock to get back to work. My name is Sammy Steele Thomas. I work for Midland Development Corporation. I'm our business retention and expansion coordinator. We started Founders Blend back in April. I meet with a bunch of local businesses, and as I was talking to these entrepreneurs, they kept bringing up, it's hard to run a business, and sometimes you just need someone who gets it or can say, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm really struggling with that too. Or how are you balancing it all? Oh, well, I'm not. Sometimes you just need to hear and experience that kind of fellowship and camaraderie with other people. And so this is something that has been put together by a whole lot of community partners: Midland Development Corporation, UT Permian Basin, Midland College, Second Story Coworking, BAM Consulting, 40 Wolves Marketing. It's just Midland Chamber of Commerce. I mean, the list goes on. It's really been a product of a lot of people just wanting to show our local entrepreneurs here that they're seen, they're heard, and that we appreciate and value what they bring to our community. So I want to know, first off, is this anyone's first Founders Blend meeting? Perfect. Well, welcome. We are so excited to have you guys here. A little rundown of what you're going to see. You're welcome to get up and get coffee throughout the whole thing. We are going to hear from 2 businesses this month, and they will share a little bit about their story, and then it's going to be a Q&A between the audience and those business owners that all help to MC. So as you're listening to these business presentations, be thinking of questions that you can ask, and really just try to be intentional with this time. Because if you're too shy to ask in a group setting, go up and introduce yourselves to these business owners and ask them if something resonates with you. Well, tell them that, because that is what this is all about, is connecting and community. Okay, and then real fast, how many of you, did you guys take a look at this Yesie's board, breakfast charcuterie board setup? I know, that is amazing. Yesie's over there in the back with the apron. Oh my gosh, what a spread. When I heard breakfast charcuterie, I was like, didn't know I would want, sausage first thing, or sausage makes sense, but I wasn't thinking of charcuterie like like a rose, all the meat and things. I was like, I just don't know that, but this is something, so we really, really appreciate it. And then also we want to thank Frost Bank. They donated our coffee here from Far West. Where's DeLacy? DeLacy, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. This is something that we hope to continue to be free and open to the public, and it's thanks to people like you guys who have volunteered and donated items to keep this going. Okay, so you're going to hear again from 2 businesses this month, and the first business you're going to hear from is Midland Yoga Works. Midland Yoga Works was founded and created by Sydney Simpson with the idea that yoga and yoga movement, it can change your life. They provide movement choices that rebuild and refresh the body, mind, and spirit. Classes are taught by a staff of dynamic teachers, all of who are trained and devoted to yoga. They offer beginners classes, gentle classes, mixed level breathe and movement classes we call vinyasa. Did I say that right? Okay. Heated classes, restorative classes, yin yoga, aerial yoga, and a whole lot of additional fun options to get to know your body. Very simply, we move and breathe and let the body do what it was designed for. So without further ado, Sydney. Use this mic for you. Let me do this first. I've taught some kind of group exercise class since about 1983. And I was actually introduced to yoga in
somewhere in the late 80s, and at aerobics convention, because I taught group exercise, aerobics, step aerobics, and stuff like that. And in about 2005, I found a group of certification programs that would allow me to, that didn't sound too Hindu-like, and I thought it was safe for this little Baptist girl. And so I pursued, and I took a couple of workshops, and I just kept going. It's a never-ending process of learning, and so I just kept learning. And so here's my little group of staff here. This is some of them, Midland Yoga Works. And after I did my first certification, I met a lady named Carol Ann Bauer, and she owned a little yoga studio in I think it was the Plaza Oak Shopping Center, and named Phoenix Rising Internal Arts. And I thought, what is that? It didn't really have I didn't really understand what Phoenix Rising was. And although, unless maybe you have a little information about our background with Harry Potter, you don't even know what a phoenix does, right? And so it is a really cool story, but it doesn't describe what you do in that place right there. So I introduced myself. I started teaching for Carol Ann, and in about 2010, she wanted to move on, and so I bought her studio, which actually means that I just bought her props, because there's nothing to buy in a yoga studio. You just buy her props. And so I renewed the lease in my name, and then was able to start classes and buy her props. And so then I started having classes. We started adding classes, and I soon realized that I needed some instructors. And so what we ended up doing is creating a yoga training school that allowed us to train our own instructors, because we have to have some trained instructors to teach our classes. And we did that partly because I need instructors, and Midland is so far away from everywhere else. And so we thought we'd do that for a couple of years. We'd train instructors, and we'd do these for a couple of years, and we'd be set. But people in Midland move away. And they move in and they move out, and so we had to keep training instructors, and so that's kind of our workforce right there, is our instructors. But so I did a couple of really cool things when I first started the studio. Carol Ann had a system of just punch cards. You go in and you take a class, and it's kind of an honor system and punch cards. So I subscribed to a monthly subscription service where people could schedule online, and then you could take payments. And then, so that was a big deal. It's the one I use is Mind Body, and it's really well known right now. It wasn't really so big back then. And then another thing I did was created a monthly membership program. So you can buy a class, buy a single class or a group of classes, and you could buy a subscription. Now that seems like it's not that big of a deal right now, because everybody does that, but in 2010, nobody did that, and no yoga studio did that ever. And so I created that option. I just had the idea, and so we tried that, and it has worked really well. And people have responded to that. Let me see here. Sorry. Oh, I think this is it. I don't know how to make it go. There you go. Okay. So then in about 2017, we kind of outgrew our space in Plaza Oaks, and we started looking for a new space. And we ended up in the Colonnade Shopping Center at the corner of Garfield and the Loop on the north side there. And so here is our new space, the pictures of our new space. We added, we have a yoga wall here. That's not, that doesn't make sense to y'all, but it's a really cool thing. And then we have 2 rooms now. We have a prop room, and then we added some retail. So going from this one little studio space, it was a whole entire space, to this new 2 rooms was a really big deal. And so, and when we did that, we doubled our floor space. We added class schedules. We added teachers. We continued to train and add and hire teachers. And so here we are. And then COVID hit. And we thought, oh no, what are we going to do? Because all these people who are paying their subscriptions need to be able to do something for their money. And so I first thought I would just, have a week off, and I'd get some things done, like cover all the bolsters that I was going to do. And then I realized, oh, this is going to last a little bit longer. So I bought a bunch of equipment. We did online classes. We took them we let people have classes for a week or two free so they could learn how to zoom in and get the links, and we could figure that out. And then we survived doing that until May 18th. I know exactly the day. Governor Abbott said that we can open up to a certain percent. So I go in there and I mark off the classes, off the rooms, and people slowly started coming back, and so that's how we survived that part. Okay, so the next slide is what? Okay, so I'm going to let you tell you some of our strengths. So I think why we our strengths. So we offer multiple kinds of yoga in the studio, and that might not seem like a big deal, but yoga is so lineage oriented and it's so teacher oriented that a studio in like the Dallas area or something would only have Ashtanga yoga, would only have one kind of yoga, would have gentle yoga, or they'd have Kundalini yoga, or they'd have aerial yoga. And so we just let everybody come in, because obviously if you think your kind of yoga is the kind that you've chosen, it's the best kind. And so, it's the only kind in some people's view, but we just let everybody come in. Everybody can come in, and you can experience yoga in a different way, because we're all different bodies. We all have different things. And so it was really kind of a new idea to have all different kinds of yoga under one roof. So we have the aerial yoga and the gentle yoga. We have some vinyasa yoga. We have some gentle yoga. This one on the bottom right is a bar class. We have bar classes, stuff. So the idea that we have all different kinds of things was kind of a big deal. It was a change in the world of yoga. We have, can you do the next one? What's the next one? We have, here's the guy over here on the yoga wall. It's just a prop, just like everybody else. Has a yoga wall things. We offer a variety of classes. We've just started doing these ice baths. That is kind of a fun thing. I see you shaking your head. You're not doing that at all, are you? It's a little more fun than I thought. I'm pretty cold-natured. Okay, and so then, so I think another strength is that we have these great instructors because we train them ourselves, right? And then not only that, after you do a 200-hour training program, I bring in other people in addition to that. I bring in people from Dallas, from Santa Fe. An instructor came from Pennsylvania. We take them because I want my instructors to be the best in the city, and so I bring in extra training because it's really a never-ending learning process to do this. And so our instructors are great. Let's see. You know what else I think we do really well is I let the instructors kind of lead some things. If they have an idea, I think, okay, they have an idea for a class. Okay, well, let's just try it. Somebody wants to add a class on Wednesday at 10:15. I'm thinking, okay, we'll try it. Somebody wants to create a special class like an ice bath, or we want to create a special class for aerial, or you want to do a handstand class. You have an idea, you want to do it, we'll put it out there because we'll just see if it works. And then hopefully I'm letting them take some ownership in the idea that we're all in this together, and that we can all benefit, but they get to decide some things too. Okay, so one thing that I thought was really where we're growing is that we're continuing to add programs, and we're adding things to the schedule. This event, this cold plunge thing over here, it's really pretty fun. I know you don't think. We do 30 minutes of breath work, and then we plunge. And then this time, as a collaboration with Simply's bringing the super vitamin injections. So I think, you can do the cold plunge, you can boost your immunity system, and you can have a super vitamin shot. Some vitamin B12, we need all that stuff. And so that leads me to the idea that whenever Sammy came in and did a little interview and stuff, she introduced me to the idea of collaborations. And so I thank you, Sam. Where are you? Thank you, because I really had never thought of that. And I just thought I was in this little yoga world all by myself. There were no other yoga studios for me to collaborate with or do stuff with. And I thought I had to do this all by myself. And I thought, oh, I can pull in other businesses to help my business, and I help their business. And the idea that I wasn't in this all by myself was huge. Like, I thought, well, so thank you, Sammy. And so as a result of that, we've done several different collaborations. One of them was with Simply, I just told you about. Of course, the birthing center, we have prenatal classes, and so that has worked out pretty well. We did a thing with Venture Robotics, where they would come and do robotic in our childcare during the summer when parents needed extra childcare when they're not in school, so they can come and do robotics. Was that not a cool idea? And we've done some classes, things with the women's clinic, and we also talked to the Sibley Center about doing some classes out at the Sibley Center in their little garden area, and it was just so hot all summer. So it's a little bit cooler now that we can arrange that and work on that. Part of my our next part is about so during the COVID area, what would you call that? Pandemonium, yeah. Instead of pandemic, people slowed down a lot. They walked their dogs a lot. Everybody slowed down, and it seemed to me like whenever we got back to work, it wasn't just our normal pace. It was like fast and hard. And it's like they're trying to make up for everything that they missed. And they're just going fast and fast. And so I think one of my things that I'm working on projecting is to go to corporations and show people how to calm down a little bit. You gotta breathe, and you gotta take time to just let your brain relax sometimes. And so I do sound baths in corporate settings, or people can come to the studio and do a sound bath, just like I offered you here. We have a couple of oil companies that contract with us, and they come to the studio because we have all the props, and we do a special class just for them. Just their employees come in, and we set up a time twice a week or once a week, whatever they want, and we have that class just for them, for their employees that come in. And I know the big corporations have their own facilities, but so not everybody is that big and can hire their own person. And so they can come to us and we'll create a class just for them. As far as growing, we continue to look for ways to involve the community and tell us who we are. We've done some things where we'll do like a sourdough bread class, or we'll just try different things. I'll try anything. We had a lady come in with clay, and we did stuff with our hands and clay. We did an art class. We just bring people into the studio to just make it not so scary. Sometimes yoga seems kind of scary, and we'd bring them in. I would tell you that marketing is huge. I have no idea if I'm doing it right. And I've tried, we've done the art crawls, we've done some Yelp. I've had hired people to do social media, and then I've done social media. I've done the pop spots and the breakout things, and I have no idea what works. Although I think I need to do TikTok now. And so I'm learning. I think I need to go to school on the TikTok thing here. And so I have no idea what works, so I'm open to your ideas or any kind of help. I do have one thing that, I do one thing, if I'm going to continue to do this, I'm going to have to find a space of my own. I'm tired of paying rent, and the space is that if my last landlord went up $1,000 a month on my rent in 1 month, just from one place, and I'm thinking, that's a lot of yoga. And so I'm working on a space. I put in a bid, or I put in an offer for a space of my own, and they didn't even counter offer. And so I'm working for a community of healthy kind of people to purchase this space, who's also tired of leasing space, and make it my own, make it so that we can have our own space, but have a community area. And I'm going to go to school on that one too. Sorry.
Well, Cindy, you were talking a little bit about, and you can go ahead and take a seat here. You were talking about how you have questions about how exactly, first off, give Cindy a hand. It's so hard to get, you live and breathe your business, and then someone's like, tell me what you do, and you're like, well, where do I begin, But you were talking a little bit about the collaboration aspect and learning from other people, this is the prime spot to be learning from other people. One thing that you mentioned that I thought was really interesting was and I love this, yoga, bringing this to West Texas. When I talked with you initially, people were like, yoga? Why would we do that? And you had to kind of have a shift of culture and a mindset around it. Would you walk me through, what was that like to get people to come around to yoga? And now, people get it. But at the beginning, it wasn't like that.
Yeah, in the early days, people kind of looked at me like, why would I even need yoga? I go to the gym and I work out, and that's true. You can work out and you can have a cardiovascular exercise, and you can spin, or you can do all those kind of things, or you can go to the CrossFit or whatever it is. But yoga is not CrossFit, and yoga is not doing things really hard and fast to check off a box. It is more of a mindset. It's a slowing down of your brain. It's a connecting with your body that you haven't, and a connection that you haven't done with before, or you haven't even thought about your body in connection with your brain and your mind and stuff. And so it is quite different in that we all know about spin, and we all know about CrossFit, and we know about it's hard and fast. But yoga is a slowing down. It's a different kind of movement. And you're right. Even my pastor spoke out against yoga one time. And so I'm thinking, oh dear.
You just said, well, I'll just be praying for you.
I mean, like, really?
I'll just be praying your mind changes.
And so I asked my friend, my running friend, I said, okay, what does Gary really think about me? He goes, oh, Cindy, he just knows it's you. And so just to educate people, so although we know it, one of my favorite writers is Henry Nouwen. He says, we need a quiet place. And if we don't find that quiet place, deep inside we know our lives are in danger. If we don't find that quiet place somewhere. And so yoga is a little bit about finding that quiet place, connecting with your brain and the body, and letting it do what it was designed to do.
Right. And I think as entrepreneurs, finding that quiet place, it can be kind of tough, right? Well, does anyone have any questions here for Sydney? Angel?
Yeah, so, especially with the pandemic, and, everything's went digital, right? We got that push to go digital. So, is there a difference between somebody like learning yoga off YouTube or coming in person?
Thank you, Angel. Yeah, so we did our classes online for those couple of months, and we got our people to come back in and do that. And our lifestyles of people changed. So before the pandemic, we had people would go to work and then go to class, come to the noon class, and then go back to work. And then during the pandemic, even after the pandemic, when they went back to work, they didn't really go back to work. A lot of them worked for their homes, and so their whole lifestyle changed. And so there's a big difference than doing something online. In fact, it's really hard to keep connected. It's hard to keep motivated. It's hard to feel inspired when you're only doing things online. They're convenient, incredibly convenient, and you think, well, I'll do it in just a minute. I'll do it in a minute. But in a real class with a real instructor, you are allowed a chance to be inspired. You get a connection with a community. You get instruction. Are you actually doing this right? I think most people really want to do it right. And so you get instruction, you get feedback, you get encouragement. So there's a big difference between online classes and having a real instructor in your class.
Yeah. You touched on something that I think is a big pain point for a lot of entrepreneurs: finding retail, finding real estate, finding space.
Oh, yeah.
How many of you are entrepreneurs and finding a space for whatever your business is has been or was or is a struggle? How many of you? Someone in the back was like, yes, absolutely. Actually, any realtors in the room, let me connect with you.
Yeah.
What has been something that you've learned through that process? Especially, I'm sure there's a change from when you initially found your space
Right.
to then what spaces are like and availability is like right now.
Yeah, it's really pretty difficult, and it's we had a tiny little 1,700 square foot place, and we moved to 3,000 square foot and added retail, and we did some things like that. But it's really difficult to find that, and you're totally at the mercy of whatever they say they want your rent to be. So in my case, the taxes didn't go up, the insurance didn't go up, the triple net didn't go up, and they decided to charge me $1,000 extra. Well, oh my goodness. So I don't really have a choice, except for right now, I'm pursuing another choice. And so, you know what, location, where I don't want to be downtown, because I want those people to come to class every day. I don't need a remote location. I need right in the middle of where everything is happening. And it's really,
It's tricky. You got to think about a lot of things.
it's tricky. And of course, certain places are a lot more money. And I don't know. My brain can't get past some of that stuff. That's a lot of yoga by the time and after the pandemic, I thought, well, you know, I'm almost working for free. You know, it seemed like it. I just want to own something instead of do that. So I wanted a kind of like a co-working space, but everybody gets to own their own thing, and I'm going to work on it.
Right. Well, we'll ask one more question here for Sydney before we wrap it up. Does anybody else have a question? Yes, ma'am.
I was just curious, how much does a membership cost?
Okay, so I have $120 as a membership, and you can go to unlimited classes. I give you some perks on the retail, and I give you discounts on when I bring in instructors. I bring in instructors from out of town or something, so workshops that we have. You can also just buy a set of 10 classes. You can also buy a set of 5 classes. You can just walk in. So you have a lot of options. But 120 actually is a pretty good deal in our little community. Some other places charge quite a bit more.
And if you guys have any other follow-up questions for Sydney, she'll be here afterwards. You can stick around and ask her let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much. Yep, this is for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Well, our next business here, so we want to ensure that y'all do get on the road if you have work to get to, is a company that y'all have probably heard of. And we know that it's 8:30 in the morning, so it's taboo, and it's a Wednesday to, you know, crack open a beer. But Tall City Brewing Company, they are here with us. And Tall City Brewing was started as a dream. It started as a dream in 2016. 2 different groups with the same concept blended together in 2017, began its capital raise and built in 2018, and then opened in November of 2019. Now Tall City Brewing Company is creating West Texas beer for West Texans and growing the craft beer scene through imagination, innovation, and collaboration. Their goal is to help make Midland the West Texas destination and brew community, as well as do the suspense together. Now, Jared Sparks, he is one of the founders, and he is here to share where the brewery has been and where they hope to be. Without further ado, Jared.
So he's ready to shotgun a beer with me. No, actually, it's really great to be here. I'd like to kind of share the story. So as Sammy said, we started kind of as a dream in 2016. We went through several steps When we found kind of the land that we were looking for, Cindy talked about finding a place, it was very difficult because we wanted to make sure that we had ample space that we could build to grow into. When you go and talk to other brewery owners, it's like, what's the one thing you wish you knew? They're like, man, I wish I knew how much this was going to take off. I outgrew my space in a year or two. And we're like, okay, we don't want to do that. So trying to find the right space that we could grow into, but we could also financially handle and be in a good location. Because, not everybody wants to go all the way to, south of the railroad tracks or, in a crazy different place of town. They want to kind of be in the middle of town. So we found our spot and ended up raising $3.2 million. A lot of it was from local investors or personal friends of mine from my previous career. And then we also submitted and applied to the 2018 Entrepreneur Contest that was set up through MDC. We were one of the winners from that. And from that point forward, we were on the go. We bought our land, so we own the land. We started from scratch. I designed the building, worked with some other brewery consultants and engineers to help get it built. We were our own general contractors. I have a couple other partners that are into commercial real estate, so we were able to utilize a lot of their vendors and got everything up and going. When we opened, it was great timing for COVID, let me tell you, because you open right before it. So as you're starting to launch up and you're getting all that excitement, and then the government shuts you down and you can't do anything outside of just beer to go, it kind of sucked, I'm not gonna lie. But it did allow us the opportunity because we did not have any debt. All of this was private capital. We had zero debt on the business. We had 3 months of history, and we could go to the bank and say, look, I own the land, or I own the building, we've got some history, what can we do? And so we were able to take a sizable commercial loan at very agreeable terms, and that kind of helped us grow during COVID. We bought a canning line, which you can see, there's a copy of our cans. I've got some more samples up here. And we were able to kind of start to make sure that because we hit the ground running, but we wanted to make sure that we were ready for when the COVID restrictions were lifted, we were good to go. Since that time, we've had a lot of great successful projects that we've been doing for the community. We've got several series that we've been doing. One of the things that I'm really happy about is our Tall City Brewing Invitational. We just had our second one in August, and it's a really great experience where we actually open up, sell tickets, and invite breweries from around the state, around the nation. We've had people from Colorado, we've had people from Austin, Houston, New Mexico. The first year we focused on really like West Texas type breweries. And then we've kind of broadened out, or we've gone, what we said, down the rabbit hole. And it was a great opportunity for people to try different types of beer and get them involved in understanding different types of beer, different breweries. And then obviously for us as Tall City Brewing being the host, we get to have more beer than anybody else. So we get to kind of share and bring people that would not normally come into the brewery, but use another brewery to get them in to then try our beer. And then some of these other pictures, we've got kind of famous for our Pecos Cantaloupe Agua Fresca, our Agua Fresca series. And then you can see we actually did a sour gummy worm beer, and it has been an absolute hit. The other thing that we've really focused on, when my partners and I kind of put this together, we wanted to be a part of the community. We wanted to show that we were part of this community and we wanted to give back. So we have our community tap handle, which is a partnership that we've done with a lot of local charities and nonprofits where for a given month, we donate $1 of every pour from that beer. The idea is, hey, you advertise for us. You bring people in. You want to come up, set up a booth, we'll let you have the space. And for this one beer, every beer that we pour that month, we're going to donate $1. And we've given over, I want to say, $5,000 or $6,000 since we've started the community tap program to local businesses and charities. We've got partnerships with the Rockhounds. We've got partnerships with West Texas FC, the local football club. We actually collaborated with them in our Permian Pilsner that's just out in the marketplace. And we're excited to see what happens with that partnership moving forward. We've done some great things with Midland Run Crew on Thursday nights. Yeah, got some runners here. I don't ever do it because I don't look like I run. We've also have some great partnerships with Texas Tap Company. We've done a collab beer with them. And these guys, if you've not met them, David Parkhurst, he's a local Midlander, and they've got these old Chevys, and they set them up around, and they're just a beer kind of pourer, but they love partnering with us, and so they are able to kind of get our name out to groups and parties that won't necessarily come to the brewery, but for events that they have elsewhere. And then this weekend, actually is our Backcountry Tap Room, which is a really cool thing. It's a partnership we've done with the Big Bend, our friends at the Big Bend, where we set up a mobile tap room in the middle of nowhere, and we just give you coordinates, and you have to GPS and find us. And for $25, you can drink whatever you want. And all of the proceeds go to Friends of the Big Bend. So that's really helped us with our collaboration, because now, even though Big Bend is 5 hours away, 4 or 5 hours away, we are the brewery that funds all of the beer for the national park. We have some amazing growth and expansion plans. I've mentioned about our Agua Fresca series with our Pecos Cantaloupe. That's going to grow. We're doing different flavors, and we're hoping that we can kind of really build off of that series every spring and summer. And then the other thing that we've got is our Prairie Fire series. I showed a little picture earlier this year. We had what we called our Santa Margarita. If you look in the beverage industry, you've actually seen kind of a lag in craft beer, but what you've really seen are these ready to drink, or RTDs, where they're kind of like a whiskey cola or a Moscow Mule in a can. That's kind of where we're going, but we don't have a license to do a spirit. So I've got a really, really great head brewer who's very, very smart, and he has created a concept is like a supercharged seltzer, where this seltzer actually comes in at like 25-26% alcohol by volume, and then we dilute it down to get it into something that we can sell in a can with different flavors. It has been, the Santa Margarita was a hit, and people were like, there's no way there's no liquor in this. I was like, nope, it's all basically a fermented sugar. There's no liquor in it. And so we're hoping to kind of capitalize on the market trend of these RTDs, but do it from a craft brewery sense and not from a spirit-based sense. Some of the struggles that we've had, we're trying to grow and expand our marketplace. So we're looking at, how do we expand into San Angelo, Big Spring? We did that about a year and a half ago. We're getting up into Lubbock, Abilene. We're trying to work our way west towards El Paso. We really want to take over all of West Texas, but the struggles that we've had are obviously, not a surprise, people. It's just really hard to find people, especially in a very niche market. I mean, you can't just find a brewer locally here. You can't find people necessarily that understand all the concepts of brewing without being trained to do it, but who wants to spend the time to go train it when they could go work in the oil field for considerably more money? The equipment is a struggle. I've got a piece of equipment that's been on the fritz. It's not a piece of equipment that you can just go down and buy at the store. I mean, these are not manufactured here, and they're very expensive. So everything that we made this year is going to basically go into this new piece of equipment to replace one that's been failing on us. And then just trying to gauge our marketplace. How do we know that the beer that we're making is what people want? Obviously, we can understand based on what we're selling in the tap room. We can look at industry trends, but we have had times where we brewed a beer and we're like, man, this tastes amazing. It's so good. It's going to sell. And then we put it in the tap room and nobody buys it. They're like, well, I really want the blonde. I'm like, I know you like the blonde, but try this. Sometimes it's really tough. We've also had times where we tried something, we're like, I don't know if this is going to work. That sour gummy worm, I thought there's no way people are going to like this. And holy cow, everybody wanted it. We were starting to run out. We tried a peanut butter chocolate stout, and everybody loved it, and we want more of it. I'm like, well, we'll do our best for next year. So with that, I'll kind of open it up to any questions.
Great. Well, let's give Jared a round of applause here. Well, first off, Tall City has just become such a staple. I grew up in Golden, Colorado, so lots of microbreweries, so I was happy to see West Texas join in that aspect. Something that I think is fascinating about Tall City Brewing, and we haven't had this perspective before, so in our name, it's Founders Blend. Well, there's a lot of founders behind Tall City Brewing. What has that been like? It's a village behind the business.
Is it tough to manage some of the personalities sometimes? Absolutely. But of the 5 founders, each one of us had a very unique skill. So I've got 2 partners, commercial real estate. It was actually their father-in-law that owned the piece of land that we bought. They also had all the crews and everything. I had a brother who's a founder with me. He was chair of planning and zoning in Midland. So when we went through the city to get all the zoning changes, he knew who we needed to talk to, how we needed to set it up so that we could breeze through all of the zoning changes and get it in front of city council and get it taken care of. I had another partner who was a marketing guy. So in terms of like the social media, the marketing, and kind of helping build the brand out the get-go, that was his strong skill set. For me, I'm an engineer and I've been homebrewing for over 10 years. So where the other guys are like, well, we know how to brew, but we've never really brewed that much. I was able to kind of come in and say, here's the important things. Here's all my contacts. I had 4 or 5 friends who had started their own brewery. I had a brew club in Houston when I lived there. And so I was able to pull that experience. And so we've worked really, really well together, that everyone has a skill set that was able to be utilized to get us off the ground and get us going.
Yeah, and it's really paid off. You can see those strong suits just when you go to the business. Does anyone have any questions here for Jared? Yes.
So, as a marketing agent, I was curious about the collaborations you've done with the community. Did that organically happen, or was that something you worked on strategically?
It's a great question. So the question was with the marketing and the collaborations, how did that kind of build? Was it organic, or did it just kind of happen, or did you have to work on it? So the answer is I do have a social media advertising marketing manager. He had a lot of experience in the craft beer area. We got very fortunate that he ended up moving back to the area, and we've had a lot of back and forth about how do we build this. So the community tap was actually his idea, but it was off the idea of we as the founders wanted to be able to give back to the community. How do we do it? He's like, well, what if we did something like this? And I'm going to share a little secret. The beers that we're doing for the tap handle, those are generally the beers that we really want to move so that we can make room for the next set of beers. So if you're coming out, you're going to be getting a beer that's a great beer, but it's one that we do want to try to move. It's not any different than the restaurant that's trying to sell you the fish special. So that kind of concept. But I think when people saw the opportunity, there were a lot of charities that were like, man, how do we get our name out? Wow, this is an opportunity for us to have a space and actually get some income. And all we have to do is put their logo on our website or, share that, hey, come and have a beer at Tall City, and give back to our charity.
Right. And that collaboration, you can see where that has paid off, because that word of mouth does a whole lot of good here in West Texas.
I'll tell you, one of the struggles was getting people to understand craft beer and what a craft brewery was. The first month, I can't tell you how many times people came in and asked for a whiskey Coke. And I was like, nope, don't have any of that. We now have Coke. But it's kind of that idea of, people didn't understand craft beer. They didn't understand a brewery, how it worked. But with these collaborations, they've really helped bring a lot of people that may not have come, that they only have to come one time. I think you'll see, if you come one time, you're going to enjoy your experience and you're going to say, hey, I kind of want to go back.
Yeah, I mean, something that you mentioned when we had met earlier was you kind of have to do some educating with each new customer. You never know what their background is going to be. And something that I thought was really interesting is Tall City does tours. I mean, if you want to go and see, hey, how do you can this beer, or what is the process of getting it to taste good? I mean, that's a whole aspect. And there's also a whole lot of science to it. And Midland has 2 times the engineers. So Jared, you know, you're in good company compared to other cities, and people love to be nerds and figure out the science behind beer.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking to expand how we've done our tours. Typically, we've only done our tours when people come and rent out the space for like an event. But, you know, if people reach out to us and they have very specific questions, we have no problem sitting down and talking to them like, hey, here's what you're tasting. When you say you like this beer, this is what I think you're really liking. Let's try this beer and tell me if you like it. And they go, oh, I do like that. I said, okay, let's try this beer. Ooh, I don't like that. Cool, not a problem. You're not going to like every single beer, and that's okay. We have a lot of different things to choose from, and we're rotating them throughout the year to be in season and try some new things. So it's okay to come back and see if there's something new that you might really, really like.
Yeah. Any other questions here? Yes, Kelly.
So I have kind of an interesting kind. Like I've noticed whenever we've gone to Tall City Brewery, you have families and kids in your space in an environment that you wouldn't normally like to have kids in a brewery. And we have, our co-working space that typically you don't have kids in a workspace. Midland is an environment where they want to bring their families. So how did you guys kind of figure out how to do that?
Yeah, so the question was when they've gone to the Tall City Brewing, that they've seen families and dogs and, you know, not just the standard kind of bar setup. That was by design. So if you look between myself and my 4 other founding partners with me, we have 15 kids, and most of them are under the age of 13. And we've been open for business for 4 years. So I really liked going to breweries with my wife and kids when I was in Houston. And how do I build something that I can bring my family to? Well, I think in Midland, people want family-friendly things to do. Well, how do you do that without being like necessarily a playground or some kind of outside entertainment? You know, sometimes, you know, kids are really simple. I mean, if you bring them a board game or some blocks, you know, or just kind of let them burn off some energy, wide open spaces, they can have a great time. And so, you know, having a beer, hanging out, chilling with, you know, other people that you meet in the community. I can't tell you how many times I've just met other people sitting at the table and their kids are like, hey, can we play with these magnet tiles with your kids? Yeah, come on. And then I get a conversation going, and that's how I meet new people. I mean, that was kind of we want to brew community to do life together. We're here in Midland. We really want to make this community great. You can't do that if you're siloing yourself and you're not going out and meeting people. People complain there's nothing to do in Midland. I'm like, that's absolutely false. You're just too lazy to get out and actually go look at something. So we wanted something that people would feel comfortable to bring their families to, because I'm going to bring my family. You want to bring your dog? Let's put her on a leash. And, you know, maybe the kid's on a leash too sometimes. But we do have rules. We don't want your kids running out into the parking lot, but we have a fence. We have, you know, things to keep it open, so you should be able to see your kid very easily. We really want you to keep them close to you, but it's okay to do it, and it's worked really great for us. We get a lot of families that come out. Even some of our community tap things, they advertise as bring your family. It's not taboo to bring your family to a brewery.
Well, I know my golden retriever, Winston, he loves Tall City. He's like, free pets? Yes, all about it. Jared, I think it's really interesting that you talked about how you wanted, yes, you were doing beer, but really you wanted it to be a place of community and connection, and in a unique space. What has that done? And, you know, running a business is tricky, but when I was talking to you, it almost seems like that's what feeds you. That's what, okay, on those days where you kind of just want to wave a white flag because equipment's breaking and, oh, you just trained somebody and they are moving to Houston. That seems like that fills up your cup when you have those interactions in the grocery store where they're like, Tall City, oh my gosh, yeah, I've got that on my grocery cart right here, and I love that place. That seems to fill you up.
It does. Yeah, no. Some of my employees, they always chuckle because when I show up, I'll just start jumping behind the bar and picking up glasses and serving people. And they're like, why are you doing that? Why don't you just go enjoy the time? I was like, no, I actually really enjoy doing this. Like, I like staying busy and I like being able to meet new people and chat with people. For me, I really like to share kind of my testimony of, what brought me to Midland, which I felt like, the Lord called me to move back to Midland. I was born and raised here. My whole family's here. And I really want to see what amazing things this community can do. And I've been able to share my testimony with random strangers at the brewery that I would not have had that interaction with any other way, probably. And I think, like I said before, we are all here together. We need to learn how to do life together and build that community, because I think that's what's going to make people happier. I think it's going to make people more successful in the long haul.
Yeah, I agree. And then something that you seem very open to is, there's growing pains that come with doing a business in Midland. How do you address those growing pains and move through the system? And even though, a lot of your founders were connected or knew the system, it's still tricky sometimes. And so navigating that just requires communicating.
It's very tricky. And that's one reason why I think, I know I'm here at Founders Blend is to hopefully maybe meet somebody that can say, hey, if you're needing somebody that's doing this, or maybe there's something at this university that you could try to tie into. I'm just looking for some good contacts and networking. And that's how you're going to get through the struggles. But that's why you need to have your community so that you can have those connections.
Right. Any other questions here? No, well, Jared, before we wrap up, you talked a little bit about what's next for Tall City. Anything that, you went from being an engineer, you're still an engineer, to now the entrepreneur hat. Well, if you could tell yourself pre-COVID, so spring 2019 entrepreneur Jared, if you could give him any advice, because I'm sure we have a lot of entrepreneurs here in the audience that, they're kind of pivoting careers or they're going to try something else that's been a hobby. If you could give them any advice that you wish you would have known, what would that advice be?
I would say understand that you are going to probably come in under on your estimate. Like you're going to overspend, but things are not going to work your way. You just need to ask lots of questions, try to find the right people to find as mentors or for guides. Building a business plan, if you don't have one before you step out, you absolutely need one, just to give you at least some kind of framework to know where you're going and whether or not you're on track or not. And just continue building that community, asking questions, and if you persevere, it'll work. It'll be hard, but if you persevere, you should see results at the end. Even if you don't succeed, you will find some kind of result that you'll learn from and move on to the next project.
And on those tough days, hey, you know where to go and relax, right?
I may drink a beer later today. So.
Yeah, go do some yoga, drink a beer thereafter. Who knew this would be
Cindy,
one of those classes?
We need to get together.
Yeah, collaboration right there. Well, thank you so much. Let's give him another round of applause. And here's a little, I think beer goes well in a coffee cup. No one's going to know. How would they know?
They're not going to know.
They're not going to know. Well, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for being here. A few things before we wrap up. Again, if you haven't signed in, please do so. Feel free to stick around, continue to network. You're welcome to ask Jared and Sydney questions here. They'll stay around, and be intentional with this networking time hereafter. And then a few things. Our next meeting is going to be Wednesday, November 8th. And here's the thing, we are going to be moving locations to Midland College to their Jack E. Brown building. So something when we started Founders Blend, we didn't want it to just stick in one spot. We want to try to hit all sorts of different areas in Midland. And so our next spot is going to be Midland College. We will be there. You're welcome to take a picture of this. It's also all on our website, these future dates. But we will be there for a few months and then we'll circle back downtown and then eventually be back at the Seed. But real fast, let's give Brian Shedd here a round of applause for helping to coordinate this at the Seed building. I mean, isn't this space great for something like this? And then real fast, we have one community announcement. Midland College is going to be offering a Management and Leadership Essentials course. That course is going to take place November 6th through the 7th. So management and leadership, huge part of being an entrepreneur and being a leader in a company. So if you're interested in that, you're welcome to ask me questions. I have some more information as well. And then again, let's give a round of applause to Yessie's Boards, to Frostbank, and then also, have you noticed these fancy cameras over here? Well, this is Film Hunter Media. Luke, you're welcome. You guys both have beards. I almost said, you know, the one with the, oh, both of them. Thank you so much for filming this. If you're interested in getting involved, helping to volunteer, presenting, or donating coffee or breakfast goods, please let us know. We want to continue to just ensure that this is free and open to the public. Well, thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your October, and we will see you November 8th. Oh, and real fast, Brian, will you share about... Oh, okay, perfect. We have another announcement. This is really cool. If you can stick around, this is something, it's called Student Made UTPB. So you have to start as an entrepreneur somewhere. Well, students at UTPB are able to create goods of their own and sell them to the public. They're here to just give a little spiel. Student made, where are we? Okay, perfect. Okay, if you have anything to add, if you have questions, do y'all want to come up here and share something? Or you're welcome to ask questions after.
You want to come up here? Yeah, go ahead.
Guys, can you imagine being in college, and also running a business? Okay, awesome. We'll give you guys just a minute here.
Okay. Good morning, guys. We are part of Student Made at UTPB. So pretty much we're managers. They gave us the opportunity to start off with management roles so we can help creators sell their products. They make handmade products that they sell on a professional online marketplace. Pretty much I'm the finance manager. I help with the sales reports, helping with the traffic on the website, making sure that everything's good with Squarespace, network. That's why we're here, so we can show y'all what we do. Would you like to say something?
Sure, just a real quick introduction for myself. I'm Masim Patel. I'm the campus manager. I'm also a creator with Student Made as well. Super cool way to get my entrepreneurship skills out there. Just that, and we're also looking for any other businesses outside in the community to partner to sell our creator products at your locations, businesses. Just a cool collaboration partnerships. That way we can get our Student Made, like the word out in the community.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a great day.
That is great. You guys take a minute. If you're take a minute and look at that website. Look at what these college kids are creating. It is pretty awesome. All right, well, feel free, stick around, drink some coffee, eat some more food, mingle, and we will see you November 8th at Midland College.